Last week was Fortnite's FNCS Pro-Am, and it was a crazy event.
Just need to close it! He did it! Varsity! Nick and Bernie back into the night! They steal the back he goes and win game number 2! They said they were all night!
And because the last time Fortnite hosted a Pro-Am was over 5 years ago, everyone was hyped to see what would go down. We would get to see the world's best players team up with our favorite content creators. This would end up being one of the most important events in Fortnite history. Today, I'm going to tell you why the Pro-Am just saved Fortnite. For those of you who are newer to Fortnite, you might not know that the first ever Epic Games hosted Fortnite tournament was actually a Pro-Am, which was hosted all the way back on June 12th of 2018.
Welcome everybody to the Fortnite Pro-Am!
Favorite emote, and can you do it for me now? Oh, probably the dab. And all right, let's just there you go. Had to do it on him. Had to do it. You asked for it. You know what I mean? Yo, what's up, guys?
It featured some of Fortnite's biggest content creators at the time, and they actually teamed up with real-life celebrities. And this guest list was stacked. On the creator side, we had people like Cypher PK, Markiplier, and even Ninja.
Where do you like to land in Fortnite?
As far away from other people as possible.
And on the celebrity side, we had actors like Joel McHale, musicians like Ty Dolla $ign, and athletes like Vince Staples. They even had that guy from the meme, the Backpack Kid. This whole event was a ton of fun, and there was so much content and highlights created from it. Basically, everyone at the event dropped a huge behind-the-scenes vlog about their experiences, and it was so much fun to see our favorite creators get to spend time and interact together. Of course, we all know how that finished when the one and only Ninja won the tournament with his duo, Marshmello.
All he has to do is breathe on him, and he's going to get the win. That's going to do it! Ninja gets the win! Here at the Fortnite Pro-Am, him and Marshmello come out on top.
And here you have it, guys. The 2018 Pro-Am Fortnite Tournament winners. Congratulations, guys.
So much.
With this event being such a huge success, Fortnite decided to not only have one, but two Pro-Ams in 2019. One at the Fortnite Summer Block Party, and another one at the Fortnite World Cup. Unfortunately, however, as we got further into 2020, these events would stop happening. At first, it was understandable because, as many of you know, 2020 was the year we went into lockdown because of COVID-19. But slowly, after the world started reopening a couple years later, Fortnite didn't look super interested in hosting LAN events. However, we would see the FNCS Invitational bring us back to in-person Fortnite towards the end of 2022.
The wait is finally over. We are finally here for the FNCS Invitational, and honestly, seeing how packed the venue already is, it's exhilarating.
However, as many of you know, that was for an FNCS tournament, which is basically just the competitive side of Fortnite. There was no Pro-Am or creative tournament or anything for casual players and content creators. And other than a couple of people who were invited to commentate on the tournament, there weren't any really big content creators there to support the event. Of course, these global FNCS tournaments have now come back every single year, and we had a global championship in 2023, 2024, and we'll have another one upcoming soon in 2025. But something that's been missing for the last few years are these Pro-Ams. And because it had been so long, we slowly forgot about them and basically gave up on Epic Games bringing them back. However, with Fortnite at sort of an all-time low when it comes to content creation, Epic Games popped up out of nowhere and a few months ago announced they would have a Pro-Am in Los Angeles, California. The tournament, which took place just this last week, would not only include content creators, but also some of the pro players. They truly lived up to the Pro-Am name by pairing up one pro player with one content creator on every team, and every single one of these players would be dropping in to the brand new Fortnite Reload competitive lobbies. To prepare for the event, all of the competitors would not only show up to Los Angeles for the day of the tournament, but also would come almost a week early so that they could practice together on LAN and also film content together. However, when the players got there, they weren't just interested in filming content for the Epic team and FNCS. They wanted to make some fun streams and videos of their own.
3, 2, 1, jump.
Earthquake.
Yo. That was a setup.
Chill.
May I?
Yo.
My bad. Sorry. No, I just want to feel it. Like the aura, bro. Like,
Yo, her JD. Him.
Yo. No, why'd you smack him?
if I get canceled, this skin is red.
Okay. Say the N-word right now.
What was so interesting about this Pro-Am is that, unlike the regular FNCS tournaments, nobody was that stressed out. When you have players like Peter and Booga and Vico getting ready to play for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, it makes sense that they don't want to spend their time making content and would rather remain serious and practice. On top of that, at the normal FNCSs, there aren't a lot of content creators invited because outside of Clix and a couple other players, most of the big name pros aren't really content creators first. So this Pro-Am offered a super unique position for us to see a side of the pros that we never really got to see before. And before we get into the event, I do have something super cool to share with you guys. I was actually lucky enough to attend the Fortnite Pro-Am in person and actually get to meet a couple of you guys, which was super cool. And let me just tell you, the energy in this room was electric. And speaking of electricity, the power actually went out like right in the middle of the event.
Everything is down. Look at this. The whole arena just shut down. Everyone crashed. Everyone lagged out. There's no internet. All the streams crashed.
But we'll get back to that later because we have to go to the beginning of the tournament because this one was crazy.
Fortnite fam!
Welcome to the 2025 FNCS Pro-Am, coming at you guys live. We're about to see some crazy games of Fortnite. There might even be a few little surprises along the way.
Going into the tournament, there were a few people that everyone was looking at to win, one being the duo of Cooper and Zemi. Cooper, as many of you guys know, being one of the best pro players in the world, and also teaming up with Zemi, who, if you didn't know, is one of the best no-builds players on the planet. And even though they were playing with builds, Zemi has incredible aim and very good game sense, so this was going to be a very good duo to watch out for. In addition, Clix was teaming up with his best friend Lacey, so you knew that their chemistry was going to be off the charts. And of course, nobody can forget the GOAT himself, Peterbot.
Were you looking for me?
However, they did their best to nerf him by putting him with arguably one of the less good players, Aussie Antics. No offense, sorry Aussie if you're reacting to this video, my bad dude. It's just the truth. I'm old too, so I get it. The thing is, Peterbot is, Peterbot, so he was gonna put up a fight regardless.
This is what we have all been waiting for. 1 day and 6 matches to determine who our 2025 FNCS Pro-Am champ team is going to be.
Everybody kind of switching things up. It does look like Seti is just away from where we thought he was going to drop initially and put himself in a 1v2 situation against Savage and Lachlan. But Savage just gets Mammoth, and I believe it was Peterbot from on top, and already he's moving in for the straight elimination. Down goes Savage as Peterbot is instantly getting busy here in game 1.
Peterbot sees action. Peterbot wants his own part of it. Finding that first elimination now means everybody else is left scrambling. Lachlan trying to escape. He knows he is on the hunt, but Peterbot, watch your back. There's more company, more targets in sight.
Cooper, Zemi, honestly, leading up into this Pro-Am, this has to be one of the most predicted teams in top 5, one of the most predicted teams to actually win the FNCS Pro-Am. Reboots are going to be disabled from here on out. If you go down, you are forced to watch the rest of the game play out.
Oh, there's a lot of neighbors that they don't necessarily want to be knocking on the doors of just yet. You're trying to draw as little of attention as possible.
It's a different level of flexibility when you're playing as a solo. No, you now have to be careful anymore as Ozzy gets caught out as well. There are 15 teams still alive. Placement points have not touched this lobby just yet. It's all eliminations all the way. Cold is simply on the hunt. An opportunity there, but he misses out. But Zemi's going to steal that one away as Peterbot is struggling to get out of the box, but they send him back to the lobby anyway.
And they absolutely blocked off Queasy's attempt to actually catapult himself back up to high ground. Clicks, Lacey, they're just too tangled up. It's only going to be Clicks that manages to finagle his way out of here, but he's going to shockwave up. He sees Podeside, but he's a target, but Podeside's been sent packing.
At the end of game 1, the champions were none other than the team everyone thought would win,
Cooper and Zemi. Everybody else is solos as Queasy's trying to go for the heal off. The Chug Jug backside of the zone. He barely gets it off in time, but Cooper and Zemi, they have the Chug Cannon. Infinite heals as long as they have the time. 2v1 situation. If anybody can do it, it has to be Queasy.
But Queasy's just outnumbered. Cooper and Zemi are gonna strike first. Victory Royale. And this is the moment they want to keep that momentum building.
Since they did so well, they ended off the game with 16 points, leaving them in first place with the duos of Podesai and Nikov and Nick A30 and Queasy right behind them, tied for second.
Any game 1 jitters that might have existed, it's got to go out the window. Everybody just needs to absolutely lock in.
Ozzy went down not too long ago, which leaves Peterbot by himself. And I said the same thing about Cold. It's a different feeling when you're Peterbot as a solo. He doesn't have to play to help Ozzy.
He's going to be forced to actually commit to those lower layers unless he can find a refresh, but the punishment is steep. Peterbot catches Blake completely off guard. Gone now going to be forced to work as a solo, but Lacey, Clicks, they're a duo compadre unit. They don't have to worry about anybody else because they're taking advantage, just spraying all these teams to the low ground.
Sure, as they get shockwave up and off. Clicks, Lacey do not have high ground anymore. In fact, they're going up against Nikov for it. First down going to be cleaned up. Clicks is firing on all cylinders.
And Clicks better because that shockwave sent Lacey the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. Clicks, he finds Alex. That's a huge shutdown to Loser Fruit's team. And even with Clicks losing Lacey, he looks like he's got things fully under control in the high ground.
Clicks would have an opportunity to pull off an insane solo clutch for the win.
But look at Clicks, an absolute menace in the high ground, just causing so much mayhem for the 2 down below. Seti finds Kanata. Now it's all up to Clicks. Clicks trying to make sure he just doesn't get chopped out. Seti, he's got a way to make his way towards the high ground. Clicks can't afford a drop. He has to use all of his builds. He still has a couple of slurp juices remaining. He's gonna look for Seti. He wants the finishing shot. He doesn't need the heal up, but he might just look to play it safe anyway.
Siphon mats are so important. That changes the game completely from the situation we're in. Double slurp juice pop. He sends Seti flying outside of the zone, but back he goes, and back he does it. Clicks and Lacey win game number 2.
They said they were up all night.
And like I said, I was at the tournament, so I actually took this video from my phone. It was super cool, and when Clicks won a game, the stadium went absolutely insane. Not only did they get that win, it also put them into first place with 27 points, and once again, there would be a tie for second place, this time between Cooper and Zemi, and Seti and Daya, both of which would have 24 points.
This is it, like you're saying, the halfway point, and you saw that leaderboard, and it's not necessarily going the way that I thought. It's not elimination heavy. It's been consistency in the placements in making these top 5s, making these top 3s. Ronaldo and Kanata, they are the ones on the hunt. They are the ones causing complete chaos down below, especially for any team that crosses path, and the gentle mates have just been separated. Nikov is down as Ronaldo picks up his 3rd elimination.
But Ronaldo, he's running slim as far as the builds are going, and Seti, he might have to drop. Seti might have to get involved, getting a couple of tags. Kanata's shield's so incredibly low, but Seti, he's all by himself. He's just trying to stay out of the line of sight, and he can't go much further. He's gonna have to block his view.
From a top 2 to a top 3, at least he's staying consistent. As Nick dropping down from above, no builds. Queasy taking a huge amount of damage, 10 HP each. They're scrambling to try to make a play, and Nick A30 is amazing with that elimination, but it's Ronaldo, it's Kanata,
Game 3's winners would be another huge crowd favorite and Lacey's team member on FaZe, Ronaldo and Kanata. And once again, this changed the leaderboard a lot, as Kanata and Ronaldo would jump into first place with 39 points, having Seti and Daya right behind them with 33 points. So with 3 games out of the way, there had been 3 different teams getting a victory royale, and nobody had any idea who was going to win. It was truly everyone's game. But then in the middle of game 4, everything went black. It turns out the power went out in the stadium, which I witnessed live, and it took out the live stream.
Bro, no, everything is down. Look at this. The whole arena just shut down. Everyone crashed, everyone lagged out, there's no internet. All the streams crashed. Yeah, I'm the only one live in the arena.
And just to entertain everyone while the electricity was getting fixed, Courage brought out Cypher and Nick A30 for a push-up contest.
Who thinks Nick A30 can do more push-ups?
Woo!
Cypher PK can do more push-ups.
Boo! Oh my god, it's neck and neck! Who's gonna win? Oh my god! It's like Peter Bumper's Booga! Whoa! My go!
It was actually really cool to see everybody in the stadium talking to each other and meeting friends that they had been talking to online for so long during this power outage. I even got to meet up with some of my friends from the internet in real life, but the power was back on, and that meant it was time to start over game 4.
And one team that certainly hasn't had any difficulties hunting for those E-limbs might just be Peterbot.
Okay, yeah, sweet. Come grab this. Okay,
I got the pulse rifle.
Wait, the pulse rifle?
Yeah.
Yo,
we win.
And this is zone 6, 10 seconds left. Reboots will disable. So anybody that is eliminated now on respawn will have a chance to get back into the game. But Taco, as of now, reboots are disabled.
And that might just be worst case scenario here for Shoda. He's trying to swing around.
Underneath though, Cooper, Zemi, they do have the front side of zone already underneath their grasp. They have the luxury to be able to wait here, Taco. They can wait for it to open up, shockwave to the front side of zone to keep their position, or they can use their materials and tunnel their way there.
And with Peterbot and Aussie fully controlling the flow of this lobby, and look at Aussie from behind playing that supportive measure too. Peterbot, he's got open season on the rest of this lobby.
10 zone placement points have not even set in just yet. 11 teams still alive. Cooper, Zemi, they clean up Lacey, leaving Clicks by himself, and this is where players are falling left, right, and center. Clicks might be one of them because he's feeling the pressure.
And Clicks, he only has 2 builds left. Make that one build and a dream. Doesn't even get a chance to heal. He's gonna be taken out before he can continue trying to build up those placements. Zemi, Cooper though, one of our few healthy teams on the low ground, but can they escape Peterbot's vision? That's been the real deciding factor for so many of these teams. But Peterbot, he's got to get his way back towards where the zone is actually at. He doesn't want to find himself outside of it. Still has a shockwave. He takes out Gone. That's going to be the massive refresh. All of these builds, shockwaving up. One more tick could do it, but Peterbot barely managing to stay alive. He's on the high ground, and Aussie still right behind him. Aussie's going to play Disruptor on low.
You don't know who he is until you realize that is Fragger Aussie on the low ground, causing chaos. Peterbot's chopping down Cooper, sending him all the way down low to that low ground, and now that's his chance to put down pressure. Only 3 teams remain, and only one of them is a strong duo because Courage has just gone down. Cooper has no choice but to try to make a play. Everybody left alive is going to be solos. Cooper versus Cold in the backside of the zone as he takes down Courage.
But Cold, he's right there in the mind of Peterbot. Cooper trying to do what he can. Peterbot doesn't have a whole lot of HP to work with. He'll at least have the opportunity, though, from the high ground to play off these small show potions. Cooper goes up, but Cooper gets knocked down! Peterbot with the clutch! We all know what he's capable of, and he is just continuing to deliver.
Although they won the match, Peter and Aussie were not as high up on the leaderboard as they wanted, as they weren't in first place, which is the only thing they care about. Cooper and Zemi would now be in first with 47 points. However, Peter and Aussie were only a few points off the lead with a couple of games left. And Aussie would end up going down early in game 5, but Peterbot would end up clutching a pretty good endgame. However, unfortunately for them, it wasn't good enough. Instead, we saw the biggest Fortnite player ever. Nah, that's so f***ed up. I can't say that. This duo was massive.
But this might be the one where Vaxity, a late entrant into the competition, could come out, but he's having a couple of hiccups from up, down, left, right. His HP's out the window, but Cooper staggering himself back. His only chance was left of the Chug Jug. He has to figure out a way in because he's the only solo left versus Seti and Daya. Vaxity and Reason, the two strong duos, but they run into Cooper. He goes down. Reason is the one that's firing down from above.
I'm front. We win. I fell. No! Come on! No, please!
I like that! Vaxity and Reason! They just need to close it! Reason gets the final blow! And Seti and Daya! They are out of here! Reason and Vaxity! This is your moment! This is your victory royale!
Although Ozzy and Peter hadn't won Game 5, the points that they earned would be enough to put them in first with 57 points, only leading Cooper and Zemi by 1 point. So everything would be up to the final game to see if somebody other than Peterbot would finally win an FNCS.
Zemi and Cooper, they have placed top 7 in all 5 games, but they find themselves in second place due to just the sheer aggression of Peterbot and Ozzy able to pick up those elimination and close the gap for the bad games that they had at the start of the game. Ooh, I like this loadout coming out from Clicks. He has that mythic minigun. In reload, when you're almost essentially box to box away from so many other teams, all it takes is someone like Clicks and this loadout to start a lobby focus.
And Zemi with no Cooper, this could be absolutely disastrous here, Jacob.
I think Zemi knows what he's doing, though. He knows exactly what he's doing. He stopped rotating, boxed up immediately, knowing that they have to reach zone. So why not use this time to let Cooper reload back into this game, get as much loot as possible, because you can't really go loot for it, and maybe drop what he has. But you're seeing how Cooper went down into the first place, the crash pads.
And that's going to be a steep uphill battle for Zemi and Cooper to try and tackle.
On the map here in a couple seconds, and man, that is a max pull for a good portion of the lobby, including second place Zemi and Cooper.
Zemi has no builds.
Oh,
Jacob,
no.
Zemi has 0 material, and it's really only just begun. They're already having to function with all odds against them in terms of challenging for that first place position on the leaderboard.
And that's how close this leaderboard is. Those small differences, the tiebreaker scenarios could play a role. It's Queasy trying to lead the charge. He's going to go first, grab the high ground as Cooper grabs an important elimination onto Captain Shoda.
That was huge for Cooper and Zemi. Anything to kind of stem the bleeding that this duo has been dealing with. They have just been getting completely forced out of so many of their resources. So even the smallest lifeline can have a huge impact.
Peterbot picks up his 5th elimination by himself. 6th as a team as him and Ozzy focus Kanata and Ronaldo towards the backside of the zone.
The fact that he's rocking those double Chug Jugs, that is a sight to behold. Obviously, the other competitors aren't fully aware of that fact like we are, but Pete's already aggressive in his own right.
Just like Clicks, and he has to do it by himself as a solo. Not sure how Lacey went down, but he is out of this one.
But Pete, he's just got so much material. He doesn't mind giving up a little bit. But Ozzy, he's been picked off from behind him. Peterbot now trying to see if he can actually dart his way back, but he can't get to Ozzy's body in time. Looks is just so trapped in the backside of zone. Barely managing to make it in off a sliver of HP.
And if Peterbot were to fall here, he has a little bit of a cushion that Zemi, Cooper, Seti, Daya will have to overcome. And even one more point being cleaned up as he gets the elimination on to Clicks. That's 6 solo eliminations for Peterbot. And you're seeing our top 3. Seti is down by himself. He's feeling that same pressure that Peterbot is.
But wait a second, Zemi, Cooper, they might have just been reintroduced to this winning conversation. Seti getting sent so far outside into the storm. He's gonna have to use his Chug Jug way too early. Valuable seconds being ticked off here now. Trying to crank back up, trying to shockwave back into the zone. He does manage to make it, but only 20 left on that Chug Jug. Cooper loses Zemi though. Cooper's got to do this all by himself.
Luckily for Cooper, though, he does have medkits, the legendary slurp juice, different options here. Everybody in our top 3 are now officially solo players trying to hunt here, basically trying to outmatch each other.
Doing what he can to try and see if there's any spare heals that he might be able to find back. So, but Peterbot takes out Seti and Daya. They're no longer in the conversation for first. Peterbot trying to hold strong to their position. position, but there's still other players to deal with. Cooper also doing the same on the low ground, and Peterbot's out of here. Cooper has the opportunity of a lifetime here to bring this one home.
He needs placement. He needs eliminations. It's his chance to put up some big numbers here in the final game of the day. Cooper's just letting them handle things. He said free placement. I don't mind.
Cooper, he might be looking to even try and send somebody back into the storm. He's got 5 shockwaves he can buy himself. Ribbit time, he's gonna go straight up. He's gonna throw that shockwave out, but it's not gonna connect. Lotus side, gonna get chopped out because of Cooper sending himself up with the shockwave, but Cooper, he's just stuck between all of France here. Lotus side, and Mika, they will find the gentleman's victory in game 6 here, but the damage has been done. Cooper falling what he did. Your FNCS 2025 Pro-Am champions are decided. Peterbot and Oceantics.
One full day of competition, Taco. 6 games. You got Peterbot, reigning defending global champion. You got Ozzy, one of the biggest faces of competitive Fortnite. They went ahead and dominated with multiple eliminations. They got a victory royale. That's why your FNCS Pro-Am champions, Ozzy and Peterbot!
Honestly, as much as I would have loved to see an underdog, having Peter and Ozzy win felt super fitting, and it really just makes sense. It reminded me of the moment that Ninja and Marshmello won 7 years ago. And for those of you who weren't able to get to the event in person like I was, it was also live streamed like any other FNCS tournament, except this one got an insane amount of views, even more than the traditional FNCS tournaments. In fact, we had over 400,000 viewers at peak viewership, which is absolutely insane. So, with this event being an absolute success, it leaves me with just one question. And if you read the title, you probably know where I'm going with this. Why did it take so long for Epic Games to bring Pro-Ams back? And are we going to be seeing more of them in the future? Honestly, I think part of the reason Fortnite had been so hesitant to host another in-person event was that the game hasn't been as popular as it used to be. And if Epic Games is going to invest time, resources, and money into hosting a LAN event, they need to sell enough tickets and garner enough viewers online to make sure that they can actually make their money back. But I think money is just an afterthought for Epic Games here. Or at least it should be. With the amount of money they're making on the item shop, I think they can afford to risk a little bit of cash for the sake of building up a community. And in order to build up a games community, you have to support them without expecting anything in return. You have to make opportunities for content creators to grow and make a living so that they can make even more exciting content going into the future. And as we saw this past weekend, something like a Pro-Am is a literal goldmine for content creators and fans alike. It's crazy to get to see creators who you never thought you'd see in the same room together interact live on stream like they've been friends their whole lives. If I'm being 100% honest, I haven't been posting as many videos lately because I haven't been as excited about the game or really had as many things that I wanted to post about. And if I'm being honest, as much as I enjoy making money on YouTube, a big part of the reason I do this is because I genuinely am passionate about making videos you guys will enjoy. So if I don't feel like there's anything I can talk about that you guys will listen to me yap on, then I just don't really want to make videos. So with all of that being said, I really hope that Epic Games sees how incredible this Pro-Am was and starts to make more events that give back to the community. And for those of you that I talked to that said you watched my videos, it actually means the world to me, and it was so cool seeing those people in person. It's one thing to see a viewership number on a screen, but then to actually meet people, it just puts it in a whole new perspective. Anyways, I make this whole video and added a 3-minute yap session at the end just to say I really hope Fortnite continues to grow its community because I want to continue to grow my community. So if there's anything you guys want to see in these videos, if there's any topics you want me to talk about, please feel free to comment it down below and reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching all of my videos. This was a super cool one to make because I actually was at the event I was talking about. I'll be back soon with another one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Peace.